up through that quick right, left, 11 and 12.
And you can see by the edges of the wall, generally where the guys would take their cars out to the edge. In this scenario right now, it's going to be very wet there, so you're going to have to make sure you alter your line than what you are used to in the dry conditions.
Okay, remember the paint on the runway at turn number 1. It could be very, very slick. Pace car has pulled off. The field of 24 forms. And as they come down the front straightaway, the second race of the 2010 Eyes on IndyCar Series is green. Wide through the corner.
Nicely done.
Calmer heads prevailed for the first time in years here.
And Marty, on that start, Tony Kanaan came out on the outside and started to accelerate too quick. Will Power very smartly, because he's the pole sitter, turned around and held back. As we're now watching Marco Andretti dive on the inside. A very nice move when the track is wet. But back to Kanaan for a second. He then had to slow up on the start. And in turn, Will Power then got the jump.
Conway has stalled the car in turn 2, so Mike Conway is right in the middle of the racetrack, and if they can't get him fixed... Oh, and Dario Franchitti has been turned around.
And both of those are probably results of spins of some nature. You can see the flat spots on all 4 tires of Franchitti's car.
Let's go on board with Dario Franchitti and show you what happened here.
Now this is just coming out of 1. There goes around 24, Mike Conway. And Dario's probably going to try and gas it, and it goes around. Remember, that's so slick here at any point in time. No traction control on these cars this year, so all you're doing is using your foot and trying to generate enough grip to get the car going forward.
If he can hurry, he can stay on the lead lap if they can get him refired. The team is standing by because obviously he's flat spotted the tires. He did bang the wall with the left front at least. He's refired. And now the question will be just if he did any damage to that left side of the car. What's going to happen here is there is Scott Dixon as he is looking for his first win here in the streets of St. Petersburg. He's finished second here twice. He's approaching Graham Rahal to try and put Rahal a lap down. Oh no, we've got a crash. Takuma Sato is into the barriers at turn number 4.
Exact same place where Dario Franchitti hit the wall the other day. Very bumpy street circuit we talked about. It just takes one minor slip, and we're only talking about a turn-in point, changing it maybe by about 6 or 8 inches. You can be on a certain bump and lose the front end, and off you go into the tire barrier. Now let's watch in this replay. A little bit of a defensive line he's doing right now, and that causes the arc to be way too tight for him to be able to get through, and the 14-car Vitor Mira slides through on the inside. So he'll go back and rethink that one. You can see how the tires are just locked up and into the tire barrier.
And that was a battle for 9th on board with Dan Weldon. He's right behind these two.
And watch, he sees everything that's going on. The cars on the left are on the right portion of the racetrack. Very difficult, even in prime conditions, to make that tight turn for Sato. And remember, he crashed in that very first race back in Brazil, Jamie Little, and he didn't get past turn 1.
Just as we come back, we have had a crash going down into turn number 1 involving the 32 of Mario Marias and Dan Weldon. And there is Marias, and there is Weldon. Trying to see if there was anybody else involved in this.
And sometimes his strong suit has not been the road courses, even though he has won here back in 2005. Now, we talked about the wide entry going into 1. Let's look to see how great this is. Oh, and I can tell you what's going to happen right here, right now. Just going in too quick, locking up the wheels, the number 4 National Guard car.
Well, remember, Marias was at the beginning of that long line, so something looked like it happened to his car, and he had sort of moved over. See, he's slowing, and Dan just can't turn it in quick enough.
No, and it's interesting how that left front locks up even when he's going straight.
Let's listen and watch from on board Dan Weldon.
No, I think something broke on that car to send him off like that, because when he went to get on the brakes, it sounds like maybe even the back end locked up. Because if anything, you shouldn't be really locking up that left front. See his wife Susie right now, obviously a little disappointed with that. But the scenario really, when you're going into the turn, if you're going to lock up one of those wheels, it would be the wheel that's going to be unloaded, and that would be the right front. but you heard a lot of noise in the car just as he got off the gas and onto the brakes. So it makes me wonder if maybe something in the rear suspension broke and made the car teeter-totter to lock up that left front wheel.
We'll pick it up right up here in the booth, and you can see there goes Tony Kanaan a little bit further back. The white mirrors of Briscoe. There's Castaneda's going under Matos. Here comes Conway looking as well. Matos hangs on, and then there's contact, and Conway's into the barrier.
He could have done that if he had run a wider arc all the way through that turn, but he just cut across the bow of the car that's beside you. You can't do that.
Let's take another look at it.
Now, in this situation here, you got to believe the guy's just not going to go away. Run it too wide through there. Don't push him over the curbing. And for Rafa, he has nowhere to go, and the guy that pays the price for that is Conway. He could have just run a wide line through there because the next couple of turns coming up are all right-hand turns. And then for Rafa, he probably would have had to turn around and get off the throttle going through 6, 7, 8, and 9. But you can see that scenario there. He's up over the alligator bumps and couldn't do anything to help Conway.
On board with Ryan Hunter-Reay.
See a collection of cars up front. Ryan's going to see it, and he knows something's happening. He got off the gas, stayed off the gas because he's a veteran. He understands two cars can't fit where only one can go.
Look at what happened. What's wrong with Viso? All of a sudden, Viso pulls over. He can't be out of fuel.
No, and he's got to keep tight around the race course. Otherwise, he's going to take somebody out going through there. But a smart move to pull over to the inside. Now, will they get through this 135-mile-an-hour chicane without hitting?
Unbelievable. Di Silvestro, Ray Hall, now Ryan Hunter-Reay. And now he's got to try and make it over to get into pit lane.
Oh, why is he staying on the track? Probably just couldn't get over. This might cause a full course yellow. Certainly will help Vitor Meira get back up to the tail end of the group.
And look at Ray Hall trying to go underneath Di Silvestro, and then Ryan Hunter-Reay makes contact, and Di Silvestro goes around.
Oh, Ryan Hunter-Reay, what a great move. Avoided Simona. That was happening all in front of him so quickly. Now here comes that full course yellow.
It sounds like it is something in the gearbox. Not totally sure, but that is what EJ is saying from the car. He believes it's a problem with the gearbox. You can imagine the frustration of this team. EJ had his best career finish here back in 08, finishing 4th. They thought they smelled victory because of the fuel strategy, and now as a result of what may be a mechanical problem, it is done.
Rick, we're going to interrupt as Scott Dixon has hit the wall. And we don't know exactly where that is on the race course.
Oh, I think he hit the inside wall on the right front wheel from the damage I saw in the car. And then he went off and hit the wall itself. Now, let's watch to see how this goes. Watch the right front wheel. Hits right there and goes off into the outside wall. We've seen that quite a few times with drivers here because when the car sits stationary, you can see that the right front wheel has been broken. That's usually by clipping that inside wall.
That is turn 9 2 years ago. The same thing happened to Tony Kanaan in a qualifying session. And look at the speed bumps that have occurred to some of our top names here. Let's go back and show you while she gets ready to get a new nose put on. Take you back and show you what happened once again down in turn 1.
Turn 1 is always a very busy spot. Now let's watch the screen to see what happens. She starts to get turned in. Ray Hall is there, and then Ray Hall drives over the front of the nose. I thought she did a good job trying to give a little bit away, but now watch what happens. Ray Hall's just got his car going around just a bit too much, can't get it slowed down, ticks the back of her car, knocks it around. You'll see his left front wheel come in and just hit the right rear of her car, sends her around a little bit. She did a great job, Marty. She was giving some space to the Dollar General machine. Now we're going to go on board here with Ryan Hunter-Reay. And he's trying to follow in with Ray Hall because he thinks he might get through, but Ryan Hunter-Reay does a great job of moving around. There's no thinking going on there. That's just instinct.